Welcome to the Barker Podcast Collection.
I suck, you suck, I suck at Call of Duty. You suck. You suck. You suck.
Welcome to the Not Playing Podcast. My name's Rob Howard, and this week I'm joined by
Ian Bruce
and Patrick Kane.
Alright, well, I got my Oculus Rift, and I've been playing around with that a bit, mostly just playing with the games that I got with it. Installation was really cool, plug and play. Had to install a USB card into my PC because I ran out of USBs, but that was fairly painless once I realised I needed to connect power to it. So yeah, didn't even notice the power supply. I was like, I don't know. I thought it didn't need it.
Too
excited. Anyway, yeah, thrilling. But anyway, so I've been getting kind of used to VR in my life and stuff, and I played Valkyrie a bit. To be honest, having Elite Dangerous kind of cancels out the need for such a game, really.
It's a bit shallow, isn't it?
Yeah, I kind of appreciate the conceit with it, like where you're like actually a dead pilot, and it is very cinematic the way that they depict it, but it's ultimately quite a slight game. There's only like 4 different maps, and it's it comes into its own in multiplayer. I did loads better in multiplayer than I did playing against the AI, it's just merciless. But I don't know, I guess it kind of teaches you, because you have to kind of rely on the environment quite a bit to outmaneuver all the sort of missiles and things coming at you. But like the single player is like wave based, but it still brings on the next wave whether or not you've killed the one before that, so you end up just getting outnumbered and die.
Kill them
unless
faster.
You're good. Well, this is it, yeah. But I mean, it's very if you persevere with the game, there's like loads of unlocks, but you really have to play the shit out of it to actually unlock any of those, because it's all in-game currency, and there's microtransactions all built into it and stuff. But yeah, no, it's a nice idea, and it really is a great way of like sort of showcasing VR to your mates when they pop over. But I wouldn't say it's really any more than that, really. I think that's coming to PlayStation VR when that comes out as well. But yeah, I've been enjoying Lucky's Tale, quite liking that. Sort of, I think I've nearly finished it. It's not really the kind of game I'd play, but it's such a novelty in VR. Like everything looks kind of real, and like being able to sort of gauge platforming by sort of real distances and stuff is quite novel idea. So yeah, I'm looking forward to playing some more, but I've not yet bought any more. I really want to get Kronos and
Edge of Nowhere.
Maybe, yeah. If I can deal with the nope factor. I've heard it's more Uncharted than it is like Dreadhalls.
I've heard like there's one very, very, very scary bit, and then most of it is just mainly kind of tension stuff.
Yeah.
I've heard it also. It's not very long. Like I've heard a couple of people like completing it in like 3 hours.
Oh, really? There's been a lot of things like that about the games that have dropped with the release stuff.
Yeah,
and I heard that kind of understand why, but it frustrates me as well. But then do they really want to be pushing people to be doing VR for? Oh, I've done 400 hours in the VR thing, and now I'm blind, or now I'm walking off the cliff, or I can't move my neck anymore, or some other shit. Maybe they're easing people into it.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's a difficult proposition, isn't it, when you're charging £30 for a game?
It is only difficult because like games of that length don't necessarily have that kind of price point outside of VR. So you're basically saying that there's an extra price on it because it's on the Oculus store.
And
yeah, well, this is it. I think they're trying to maintain like a premium outlook to it all. Like.
But there
like
isn't...
it's worth, like they're trying to make it like it's worth more,
but
which
there
I'm not sure
really
I'm happy about.
Production overhead to make it VR.
No, not really.
I mean,
especially
No.
it might
when
change.
they're-
It might change the design workflow a bit to get ideas that would work well in VR. But the mechanics of making something work in VR are remarkably easy, which is why we've had really awesome VR demos for the past couple of
Especially
years.
if it's a third-person game.
Yeah, well, Chronos is 40 quid, and that's a third-person game, but apparently it's 20 hours. So that seems like much more value for money to me.
Yeah.
And it's got better reviews, so I'll probably get that in the end. And it's not supposed to be such a scary game, so I don't know. But yeah, it's weird. Yeah, the Oculus Store, it's... I mean, it's clear what they've got their little best-selling section there, and it's clear what people are playing. Project Cars, Elite. That's
Games are all on Steam.
well, yeah, and that a lot of it's all on Steam as well. So and quite often for sale. So
Yeah, often a little bit cheaper on Steam. I was just looking at a big chart of games that are on both, and they're often a few quid more on the Oculus Store.
yeah,
There's a lot of controversy about the Oculus Store at the moment.
There was a thing about the Serious Sam guys today on Reddit
Yeah.
oh yeah,
saying that they'd turned down money from Facebook to make
A
it
shit ton.
a shit ton. Yeah, to make Serious Sam VR a platform exclusive.
I think in their case, I understand why they've done it because they've got a known IP that
Yeah.
they know would do very well on Steam.
Well, the thing is, you can't really think poorly of the developers for taking monies for
No.
exclusivity because
it's letting them make their games.
It's to make their games, yeah. But that's not to say you can't think poorly of the companies trying to do it to the developers because they're essentially exploiting that. Because
Yeah.
think of it this way: like all the publisher is doing if he takes away a product from one platform, it is holding a piece of it's holding a game hostage, essentially, isn't it? So I don't think any of the developers are bad for doing it, but Oculus are trying to start the ecosystem of VR, and they're already trying to segment part of it. And in contrast with Steam, which is trying to be super open with this new thing, because you can use your Rift on Steam, you can use the open VR stuff on Steam. It's very, very open. It's like I have to keep on unplugging my Rift headset because when I load up Out of Ammo, it often loads up on that headset instead of my Vive. So that's how they treat other people's hardware. So
yeah, I've had no problem when I got my Oculus. As soon as I turned on Steam, it loaded the Oculus Store as it always does, but it also it booted up Steam and it detected the Oculus straight away and it said, which headset do you have? How do you want to set it up? So yeah, I mean, I'm not feeling like because I've got an Oculus I'm being denied at all on Steam. They're very open about it all, and I've been playing a lot of VR stuff on Steam. I've also been enjoying the theatre mode, playing some older games that less demanding, things like Strider and Jotun, on a massive virtual screen. Although I'm not doing that. I don't mind. I'll do that sometimes if I just want to play that game and I haven't had the Rift on. But it's kind of a gimmick, but it's kind of cool as well playing a platform game on like a massive screen like that. But I've had a great experience with Steam VR.
but
with the
contrast
Oculus.
that with the other way around.
Yeah,
Oculus have completely shut out all other hardware from their store.
Yeah.
So for a while, people were using a software workaround so that they could legally buy software from Oculus's store and play on their Vive. Everyone was happy, and Oculus were selling their studio's content. But Oculus then used DRM to cut that out, which then led to the developer having to change that software so that piracy is now enabled for it.
Yeah.
Which means that their own DRM has enabled piracy on their own product.
It's nuts.
It's not consumer friendly at all.
No.
You're basically saying no, you can't buy our product even though it works on your hardware. That is not consumer friendly. And and I get why they're doing it, because obviously they're not going to want to give away hardware sales. If they have a product that they think can sell their hardware, and I'd argue at the moment they don't have a huge amount compared to their competitors, like, then sure they're not going to want to give it away and let people just buy the other hardware and play it on that. But that doesn't mean in any way, shape or form it's good for us as consumers.
No, but I mean it's good in a way though, because they're putting money into VR game development, and a fuck ton of it from the sound of things, and judging on some of the things that have been announced at E3, and apparently 30 new games to launch with touch later this year, when that comes out. That's all sounding quite encouraging.
Valve are also putting money into VR games.
Like what though?
You know, budget cuts.
Yeah.
So budget cuts are relocated to the Valve studios to finish their game.
Right. Okay.
After
Yeah. I did
so
know.
much popularity. So
I think I did know about that one.
And I don't know if this is just a rumor, but I heard that Waltz of the Wizard was actually funded by Valve. That it was another showcase. That may just be a rumor, so I'm not totally sure.
Might explain why it's free.
It might explain why it's free and is exactly. So, but basically the point is, Steam is a like, you've got two walled gardens. They are both walled gardens, but Valve is a walled garden that's been around a lot longer, has a lot more people playing in it, and is a lot more open. A lot more people can come and go as they please. Where the Oculus garden, you have to be wearing an Oculus hat to be in there. And I don't know if that's the best thing for them. I don't know if it's the best thing for VR. I have to be clear. Like, I don't worry about VR at this point. I
wouldn't.
I might worry about Oculus. I might worry about someone else. But as far as I can see, VR is pretty healthy, because the conversation we're having is about who's better, or who's got the most kind of things to offer to the community.
What do you think, Ian?
I don't know. I was going to say the Oculus situation is a bit like Microsoft only selling Microsoft games for the Xbox, but that's not entirely correct. It's too early, and there's been such a vacuum of news until the stuff released, and now the games have come out, and I'm not going to dismiss the people that are doing it, because obviously we're all doing it, really. But the entitled little twunts of the world have certainly got involved quite quickly, and I don't know, I've not been on our Oculus for bloody months now.
It's become a pretty horrible place.
It's just a circle jerk.
I mean, that was the Reddit that actually got me onto Reddit.
Well,
me too.
I obsessively checked it. It was bookmarked on all my computers.
But now I'd rather read
The
Donald or something.
It's just full of kids screaming at each other. It's a bit
all it's full of at the moment is this fucking Serious Sam controversy.
Well, that's all right. I mean, there'll be 1,000 posts about that, and tomorrow something else will come along.
Last night it was full of holy shit. Look at all these games coming out on Oculus. So
now they're okay with Oculus, whereas 2 weeks before they were hating on it because blah or blah or blah.
Well, I don't think it's the same people. I think it's a lot of the Vive people on the Oculus moaning about.
But sadly, it's become the console wars in a single fucking subreddit, and that's the annoying thing.
Yeah,
and that's fair enough. That's fine. But I'm glad you're enjoying your hardware.
But that's the entire point, though, isn't it? Really, it's that it's causing a bit of a console wars. The two platforms not being.
Yes,
so
they're not sharing stuff. They're not working for a common goal. VR has meant they have become competitors. So now, like Microsoft, so now Microsoft and Sony want you to buy their thing for your lounge, and that's what has been allowed to happen with the Oculus and Valve HTC the Vive. And that's that's okay. We do live in a capitalist society, which whoever manages to do it best will make the most money.
Well, it makes sense when it's like PlayStation and Xbox. Of course, you're gonna hold those those IPs that are most valuable to your systems. But this is PC. This is one platform. It's the most open platform there is on the planet.
Yeah,
that's why people are defensive over it.
Yeah, and that's why I don't really get why it seems to have the same level of banality that the PS3 or the PlayStation versus Xbox stuff has. We're all playing it on the same platform. Does it matter which little toy we've got? I mean, it's all good. It's all VR, isn't it? Does it?
VR is a platform. HMDs are peripherals. We're not going to have we're not going to have. When have we ever had things split by peripherals? When
Absolutely.
Have we ever had PC gaming split by peripherals?
And that's
why VR has to be one thing essentially.
But I don't think a lot of people see it like that. They see it as, I've got my thing. My thing isn't your thing. Therefore, your thing is shit.
That's confirmation bias that you get with any expensive product, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and Sony's going to have its own thing as well. You know, I very much doubt they're going to let go any of those games. They'll probably come to the other platforms eventually, but they're going to be on timed exclusives for a while. I would imagine Star Wars and Batman, which I'm a bit excited about. Did you see any of the X-Wing thing?
Yeah.
That's exactly what you were asking for, wasn't it?
Well, that's exactly what I thought they would do, yeah.
Yeah. No, it's just one mission. I think apparently the Batman thing's only an hour long.
Yeah, well, I think what you might see, especially with like kind of big studios, I think you're going to see kind of mainstream games and then kind of side VR games which are much shorter and reuse the same assets that were used in larger productions, and are just tailored experiences using those same assets. That seems like a better use of kind of studio budget and resources if you're trying to build to like a growing ecosystem. I think if you're making kind of smaller experiences and you're making them in shorter amounts of time.
It's still a risk for the big. I know the big companies are throwing a shit ton of money at stuff. The big developers are, but it is still a risk for them. As soon as something will happen in the next year where everybody goes, "Ooh, VR," and whether that's somebody walking into a fire or doing something just bizarre because they're drunk or this and that, and something bad will happen with it, definitely. And until that event has happened,
blood starts coming out of my nose.
Yes. Well, if your video was working, we could see that happening now, couldn't we?
And apparently you can't complete Skyrim. That's what does it.
Well, wait for the next version. That'll be all right. But while it's still a risk, I don't think the big companies will invest as much money as they do in the AAA games for the consoles and the PC, which is why the games are shorter, as we spoke about earlier or last week. Or the games are just going to be like these little bolt-on bits for main games. I don't really want to buy. I'm not clear about where that X-Wing mission is coming from, but if it's part of Battlefront, I don't want to buy Battlefront for 10 minutes of really mediocre multiplayer play in a
I don't know
crappy Battlefield clone and half an hour really excellent VR game. That's exploitative of my wallet.
Yeah, they haven't made it clear yet whether it's like an add-on or DLC or a standalone.
No, they said it's actually free to owners of Battlefront.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
But, okay, so then you still have to buy the.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think they're right. Aren't there like 12 players playing it on the PC at the moment or something?
What, Battlefront? Yeah. Battlefront.
It's just.
Yeah, maybe.
That's like a good way of selling big titles like that, though, doesn't it?
But then it's. Yeah, but then it becomes.
Like having an add-on VR experience. But if you're targeting a platform like
but there is a risk that it becomes like. We've got a movie and here's the Google Cardboard trailer. And then it just takes the edge off the gloriousness of that we all believe VR to be.
I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm just saying it sounds like a clever thing to the marketing.
Absolutely, in the same way that Google, we've got the Harry Potter. Yeah, that's the. Yeah, I'm not even going to do that. So you've got a branded Google Cardboard with a shitty trailer or a shitty VR, which is a 360 movie in it, and everybody goes, "Oh, we've done VR."
VR.
No.
It's not VR, you twats. So I would like, and I think we all would like, who are slightly more VR purist, we would like to have this for a little while longer until everybody's confident, and then some more money thrown at it. However, it does mean there's massive opportunity for the indies. So the guys that did Out of Ammo, best of luck to them. That looks chuffing awesome.
Yeah.
That looks great. So there's still a gap for people to get in and get in at the ground floor, so to speak.
I think once, like, using both pieces of hardware for like a couple of weeks now, there's so little difference in them.
And that's why I don't. Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I don't really. The battling between them, it's like your one is better.
Well, no. That's the thing. Like, the battle isn't about the hardware. I don't think anyone really is battling about the hardware. The battle is the platforms. It's the stalls. That's where the real battle is. That's where the competition is, because the hardware is essentially the same. Like, the two headsets are essentially the same.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that once you've got those touch controllers, you'll be able to port most games back and forth to both
It's the same as
platforms.
Xbox and PlayStation. They're essentially the same machine.
Yes,
It's all about the software.
it's all about the store.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and
But-
what games are available.
Oculus are trying to be Apple.
Well,
Yeah.
Oculus at every turn are trying to be a bit like Apple, and the problem is they're not doing the right things that Apple did. I mean, look at the iPhone and the App Store there. Like, look how that succeeded. Do you remember how how Apple like locked down a really tiny amount of developers and said you're the only people that can make software for this hardware? No, because that's not what happened.
No.
They let everyone use it, and then you get the most amount of content that way, and although you do get a larger amount of low quality content, you also get the gems. You get the killer apps,
and you also
don't
get a shit ton of revenue because you charge developers to get on the store. So
yes.
Yeah,
So
that is
everyone's
balmy.
winning. So it is kind of stupid that they're, like, from a developer point of view, if you've got a Vive and you've got a Rift, you're probably going to be pretty confident that you can make most things work on a Rift that work on the Vive. Like, some things I think will be a bit difficult to do, and concerning like 360 movement. I think some things will be a bit iffy from what I don't know. I've experimented a little bit with kind of room scale stuff with the Rift, and there is kind of occlusion problems. They probably will go away when there's an extra camera there, but I think most things will be fine.
try put. Yeah. Okay.
But like, if you're going to do that, like, why would you only make it for the Rift? Why would you only make it for the Vive? The only reason would be is because Oculus is asking you to do it. That's kind of the problem.
Well, they need
at
a
the moment.
revenue stream, don't they? That's the issue. They
Yeah.
need that money coming in off those games.
Yeah.
So why can't they? So why can't they just do that, but let everyone in, and like Steam, just they take a cut, don't they?
Steam
Yeah,
do, yeah,
they
it's
do.
40% or something
Yeah.
outrageous.
So the problem is that they're. So what is it? They're just protective of the experience. Then they're just trying to.
They want to. It's the brand thing, isn't it?
It's, yeah, I mean, they want to have products to sell their hardware. They
Yeah.
want to have the killer app.
Right.
They want to have the thing that says, this is the thing that's going to sell our hardware. This is the reason you want to buy our hardware. And they've started to show footage of people using the touch in a kind of marketing setting. There's some advertisement that went out yesterday, and it's very, very similar to the Vive advert, but it's a bit more kind of Appleified. It's a bit less kind of thrown together. It's a bit
Yeah,
more
I saw
kind
it.
of
That's the 30
forced.
games coming to touch one, isn't
Yeah.
it?
But yeah, exactly. So they've started to show like that kind of living room experience, and like it being social and people being around you whilst you're in it and stuff. So they've kind of copied some of the smarter bits of the Vive marketing campaign, I think. But like, that is basically where it's going to be. Once those controllers are out, like, don't expect developers to be writing for like 360 for Xbox controllers.
No.
That's there will be a couple of things that use it, but it's going to become the minority.
I think they will keep that in for people that don't want to get the touch controllers.
Yeah, well, this is the problem. It's fractured, isn't it?
It'll be like the low-res controller mode.
You might... Yeah, you'd like to
I think they'll have packages where they sell it without, so that people who just want to play Sims and stuff can buy it without the touch controllers.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I think they're going to do that with the next generation of Vive, I've heard. That they're going to sell it without the lighthouses and controllers, so that if you've already got that system, you just upgrade to the higher res HMD, and you've already got the controllers there. So that makes sense, and also makes sense because you can buy extra controllers and do like extra stuff with those. But yeah, I mean, like my kind of takeaway from the hardware is that if I had to choose one, it probably would be the Vive at the moment, and it's not because of the rune scale, it's not because of the controllers, it's actually just because of Steam. It's basically because all the games that I'm playing on the Oculus, I'm playing on Steam.
Yeah.
All the they're all generally things that I was already playing on the DK2, things like Elite and DCS and War Thunder and that kind of thing, all the kind of simulators and cockpit sitting down stuff. But yeah, if I had to choose one, I think it'd have to be the Vive.
Yeah, even if you've not got room for it.
Yeah, because you can sit down with it anyway, and like, I mean, and I was told that, I think I read in loads of places that the Rift is more comfortable for longer periods of time, and I found the opposite. I found that actually that becomes more uncomfortable quicker. I feel like a kind of like a pressure on the front of my head.
I have big stripes. I was playing Lucky's Tale earlier for about an hour, and I had big fuck off stripes down below my eyes.
Does it not come with any foam inserts or any kind of covers? Did it?
Yeah, it's got foam.
It's all foam and
it's got all
stuff,
adjustable and stuff. I mean, it's really easy to put on. It's super easy to put on. It's like putting on a hat. Once you've adjusted it and stuff, and you can tilt it back and forward, which is really cool. So you can let in a bit of light down the bottom, but that gives you a bit of a bigger sweet spot. It kind of sharpens up text and stuff, and the optics look great. It's light. It does get hotter than the Vive though.
Yeah,
really? Okay.
The screen gets hotter quicker. It gets hot really quick actually. It doesn't amp up huge, but it does get hot quickly, and the Vive doesn't really. You do get hot wearing the Vive, but it's because you're moving around and stuff more.
Yeah. I've stopped wearing my glasses with it, to be honest, because I normally wear the glasses because I'm looking at a box over here, And when I've got the Rift on, it's kind of just like how I normally am when I'm out and about, when I'm not wearing my glasses, which is most of the time when I'm not looking at a screen. So I don't need them that badly, and I think because the resolution, it doesn't bother me. I don't feel like I'm missing out on much, just wearing my glasses. And it's not really the eye strain that's preventing me from playing longer than an hour or two. It's more just it's fucking hot in there, and I've got a thing on my face. I just need a bit of a break from it.
But it's a great bit of hardware, and I do love the integrated headphones. They're really cool. I mean, I've taken them off. I've taken them off so I can use my own ones. But they are good headphones, and I really like that that's an option.
Yeah.
It's literally just the software side that would kind of decide it for me right now. The way I see it is that like there are more developers out there making content on the Vive, specifically for the Vive, that they may port to the Rift, and there are fewer ones. I mean, I don't know how many developers Oculus have actually sent touch controllers out to develop for. They haven't released that information, but is it 30 games out by the end of this year or something like that? 30 touch, and like most of them are Vive games, so that shows you already that that's kind of what's going to happen.
Oh, there was one I really like the look of though that is exclusive. What's that called?
There were some really cool things on there. There was like
Wilson's Heart. Did you see that one?
Oh yeah, the black and white one.
Yeah,
like a horror game.
I love the way that you've got they do the traversal in that. It's like it just shows you where you will be standing. I thought that was
Yeah,
quite
yeah.
a cool concession, considering you haven't got the room scale, but you can still play a game that's kind of like where you're going around.
Yeah. Well, I definitely find standing with the Rift does feel better. The cable's not quite long enough to do sort of room scale stuff, but you can stick extenders on them. But have you played like Lucky's Tale standing up or anything?
No, I haven't. I've just done the demos, the Dream Deck stuff.
Oh right, yeah.
Yeah, I showed it to my dad the other night when he came round.
Cool.
He did I showed him the one where you've just got those really polygonal animals surrounding you.
Oh yeah.
And then I showed him the one where you're standing on the skyscraper. And he was like, "Oh, I used to love heights, but now I'm freaking out." So, and then we did the T-Rex when it was charging at you in the museum, and he lasted longer than I did, but he'd had enough after that. But he was very impressed. So,
Cool.
yeah.
It's hard not to be impressed by it, isn't it? It's like I say, like both of them are awesome, and there's so little difference between the two of them. And yeah, I think anyone would be happy with either. But right now, I would recommend the Vive.
This has been the Not Playing Podcast in partnership with notlistening.co.uk, where you can also hear myself and Ian talk about movies and TV on the Not Watching Podcast, and Adam, Ash and Will talk about all manner of funny things on the Not Listening Podcast. You can email us at notplayingpodcast@gmail.com, or you can tweet at or follow us on Twitter at notplayingpod. You can find the show notes for this show at notlistening.co.uk, and if you're listening to us on iTunes, then please do give us a review. Anyway, that's all for now. Thanks for listening. See ya. Goodbye.
My friend, I'm inclined to agree, 'cause I suck. I suck